Alright, what's up, fellow Chevy 350-ish type of engines, G-Vanners, 80s, 90s trucks, maybe some cars. So, I'm gonna refill the refrigerant in my air conditioner, R134A. This thing slowly will leak out on me over time, so. Alright, where we are, it's very cool for a large chunk of the year, and I'm not running the AC for a long time, 6 or more months, and then all of a sudden you really need it. So I'm gonna refill this guy. Just want to show how I do it. Assuming you have an R134 setup. My van actually is a 1987 and it was R12, but it was converted, so not by me, for me. So make sure you have the right refrigerant. This stuff can be bought off the shelf at Walmart or any of the auto parts stores. And this is obviously the Walmart brand, and it's super cheap. I got the gauge on another larger can, another brand, forget which one. I just made sure to get the one that said reusable, because then I just keep that around, and if I ever need to throw another $3 worth of refrigerant in, then I do. Twist this off, should be tight, but do it with your fingers, not with the tool. Alright, it's just a little nozzle, so you just click this guy right over it. Alright, hopefully you heard the little hiss and the click, but they're in sync now. First, turn on the vehicle. You can see this gauge. It's not necessarily accurate because the vehicle is not on, the air compressor is not on. So. So as you can see, it's dropped off a little bit. In fact, it's still dropping. So that's the thing. Pull this guy up. See how it drops off? When it drops, that's where you're really at. This, I'm holding the trigger here. That's why it dropped. Alright, so there wasn't much left in this can. I partially filled it last night. I just wanted to top it off today, do a little video, so. And it was cold. It was definitely cooler. So I just wanted to put it into the yellow, but I can feel from the air that it can use a little more, so. You gotta hold this guy up because it is a liquid. You want it to roll down the hose to empty the whole thing out. You see, alright, just above the filled mark. Like I said, I have a little leak, so I'm not afraid to have it up a little bit above there. I've done this before, so I feel like I know the tolerances. If you get it to the filled mark, go check it. You know, don't overfill it before you know how your vehicle's reacting. Obviously, it's a very generic gauge. And you can feel when these get empty. When they're full, you can feel it. It's a liquid. And when it's empty, nothing's shaking in there. When it's full, alright, still putting in a little bit. You see how it drops off there? I'm feeling like this can is empty. No more shaking in it now. Alright, well, I can definitely feel some cool air. So, it's super humid right now at this moment. There's a little storm coming in, so definitely feels a lot better in my van already. Off your vehicle, flip off the switches for your air. Just go pop this guy off. Should be able to feel that. Ooh, that was hot. But down here it's cold. Oh, that's so weird. This part is hot and this part is cold and getting sweaty. So you know there's some refrigerant going through there if it gets sweaty really fast. So that's the good news. So just tighten this guy back on by hand. Definitely get it tight. Alright, nice and tight. And I like to check this, make sure nothing's in it. Yeah, you can hear that there's no liquid left in there. Then I just unscrew the gauge and throw it in my van for later. All right, so the difference between an empty can, no noise, very light. Full can, you can hear it shaking liquid in there, and it's much heavier than empty. So that'll help if you're like, did I get it all out? Yeah, if you held it upside down for a couple minutes, you did. Also, if your compressor, this stuff, is cycling when you turn on the air, it comes on, like kicks on, like obviously while the engine is running. If you hear the compressor kick on and then go ka-chunk, 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 there's not enough refrigerant in it. That's why it's cycling on and off. If there is enough refrigerant, even low, but some refrigerant in there, enough to keep it on, it would stay on. It wouldn't do that when you first turn on your air conditioning in your vehicle. So I was talking to someone on the internet, and they're saying, the thing keeps cycling. Like, you do not have enough refrigerant in it. Like, I put 1 can in, it's not enough. If your thing's been sitting and it's super empty, I did this last year. I was like, I put in 1 can, it was cycling on. I was like, oh no, there's some problem with the air. And I was reading the gauge wrong. And I thought every time that the needle went all the way up, that was the true pressure. But then it would turn off and it would drop all the way back down, the compressor. So what I'm saying is, if it's doing that flopping back and forth while you're trying to put refrigerant into it, while you're holding the little trigger on the hose and gauge, there is not enough refrigerant in it to keep the compressor on. So once you get probably about 2 cans, it should stay on. It might not be cold yet in your vehicle, but if it's not blowing cold air and the thing is cycling, like, you just don't have enough refrigerant. Of course, it could be some other problem as well, but $3 a can or $3.50 a can is a much better way than taking it to get diagnosed for something that may or may not actually be a problem. So that's my 2 cents. That's my experience. Get enough in there to get the thing to stay on. Once that happens, then you start the gauge will stay steady on the little hose. Once you pull this trigger, if that needle is going back and forth while you're holding it, that means the thing is cycling. I mean, you should be able to hear that too. If there's enough in there and you're just like topping it off like I did today with 1 can, then it should stay on the gauge. All right, I hope that gives you an idea where to start, especially if your van's been sitting over the, cooler months, or you just bought an old G van that's been sitting in someone's yard. It will probably need a refill on the refrigerant, but just make sure to match up. R134. If yours says R12, you're gonna want to take it in to see if it's been converted. That's beyond my knowledge. I don't know how to know that, but my belief is that this thing will not fit for that, but you gotta have to check that out if yours, let's see, you can find it here on the box. It says charge R12. So if yours says R12, man, definitely take it into an air guy, see if it's been converted. Mine had been converted. I didn't know that when I bought it. I only found that out afterward. So something to look out for with these old Chevy vehicles. I'm sure other old vehicles have the same issue, but I just don't know about those vehicles. So, all right, let's keep these old Chevys and GMCs on the road, right? Yeah.